Hey, what's going on, people? It's SGZ here from the SpartanGameZone, and in this video I'll be going over the increased drop rates that were introduced yesterday for Borderlands 3, and we'll see just how this has affected things and how much these drop rates have improved. Now, the improved drop rates only affect rare spawn enemies, slaughter bosses and proving ground bosses, as mentioned in this tweet. They definitely needed improving considering how long it takes to farm them, but did they improve them enough? I don't have much data on slaughter or proving ground bosses, so I'll be comparing dedicated drops, and all drops for that matter, from rare spawn enemies before the patch to their drop rates after, on true Vault Hunter mode without any mayhem levels, and I'd assume the drop rates are about the same for the slaughters and proving grounds anyway. So let's jump into it. The first rare spawn enemy we'll take a look at is Owl Dragon Jr. Before the patch I killed him 16 times and didn't get a single legendary, although I feel one was just about around the corner. Then after the patch I got a legendary on my first kill, but of course that isn't a large enough sample size, so I ended up killing him a total of 16 times and ended up with 2 dedicated legendary drops. Before the patch I got nothing from 16 attempts, but after the patch I got 2, for a drop rate of 12.5%. The next enemy's drop rates we'll compare is Enforcer. Before the patch it took me 17 attempts to get just the 1 legendary, which is a drop rate of a little under 6%. After the patch I killed him 17 times as well, but got double the legendaries for a drop percentage of almost 12%. Moving on to Unstoppable, who I felt had a good drop rate prior to the patch, although I have a feeling I may have just been really lucky. Before the patch I killed him 10 times and got 2 of his dedicated loot pool items, for a drop percentage of 20%. After the patch that remained the same. I also got 2 legendary items, which is a really good sign for these increased drop rates. The last enemy we'll look at is Tyrant, who I killed prior to the patch 17 times for just the 1 legendary Unforgiven. After the patch I received a dedicated drop early on my second kill and then a world drop later on. The world drops have been increased also, but you'll most likely get dedicated drops on lower mayhem levels. Either way, the drop rate is about 12%, like Enforcer. So overall, out of 60 attempts before the patch, I just received the 4 legendaries for a drop rate of 6.6%, which I feel is correct. I felt like prior to the patch the drop rates of dedicated loot pool items for rare spawn enemies were between that 5 to 10% mark, but generally at the lower end. Drop rates after the patch however seem to have improved quite substantially. I also killed 60 enemies in total but received double the amount of legendary drops, which is good. Really good. Where they were sitting around 6% before the patch, they now look to be sitting around that 13% point, which is a good 7% improvement. If you wanted to ballpark it, I'd say between that 10 and 15% mark most of the time. It seems that the drop rates have doubled, or perhaps even a little bit more so, and this change should make farming red spawn enemies, slaughter bosses and proving ground targets quite a lot less painful. So if you want to know your chances to get a legendary without mayhem levels, just take the amount of items in their dedicated loot pool and divide that by 13, or 13.3 to be more precise. Overall it's a good improvement, and I respect Gearbox and 2K for making the change. It took me a good 8 hours to get this data too, and I hope you appreciate the content. Anyway, that's all for this video. Let me know if there's some other comparisons or stats you'd like to see, whether it's drop rates on Mayhem 4 for a particular boss or whatever. I don't mind crunching numbers. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, consider dropping a like or subscribing, and I'll catch you in the next one.